Patricia O'Connor and Frida Reba Darcy here. There we are, in the middle of that little blue dot there, currently getting sucked on a little. And behind that is another one on the way. Oh yeah, there it is, trying to sneak up on us. So we got those little storm fronts backed up there like buses, all waiting to come in and grab their little piece. I'm Patricia O'Connor with Frida Reba Darcy, and today on the Bonsai Balcony, we're just kind of enjoying the weather. I brought these little pines in. You have seen these little pines in that little spot here just not too long ago, and that would have been a matter of me bringing those in to save them from the wind so they can go flying around. Now I'm bringing them in because I need to weed them. They're otherwise going to be okay. They've gotten enough water in the last couple of hours to last them for more than a few days. But in the meantime, I don't know that that's a show, so that we may not do that tonight. I may just do that in a little while. But here's a look at our balcony on a rainy Saturday. We're quite a ways. We're, I think, just a little past halfway on February now, and our weather has gone from rainy and cold to rainy and like from rainy and cold to rainy and high 50s, 60 degrees. A little bit of breeze, not really windy like it was before. You can kind of see the needles ruffling on the pine, but we're not getting those high gusts, and they're not threatening to give us. We do have wind advisories, but I'm not seeing anything like what I was warned about before. And to that extent, I haven't really started shuffling things around in lockdown mode. It's not necessary. What this does feel like is when you're looking forward to spring, and instead of getting spring weather, you get the other kind of spring weather. It's windy and it's wet and it's 50, 60. It feels kind of cold, but it also feels like spring. That's what we're getting. I think my little cork bark oak would agree. It's got all those little buds popping out all over its silly self. Meanwhile, that just looks like it'll do anything, but water's flowing straight into the lens now from the rain, so that didn't help us. But this thing is budding out quite a bit, and like that's also its MO, but it seems to be waking up. We're seeing a lot more of that, and this guy's falling behind that a little, but it doesn't ever stop either. My trident maple it's budding out. It's starting to show me some actual pink leafage now. I haven't really seen the buds swell that much on the bald cypress. They will kind of start to. Nope. Whole flag on the play. Boom. That little green right there. Now see, this is kind of, oh look, now that I'm looking, it's kind of funny how you see that. You don't see something green, and then once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. Yeah, this guy's budding out. This one's budding out already. Do I see that on the middle one? I do not. And just because I see a few little green buds on this tree, see, that's kind of a mixed signal. If I were looking to replant my bald cypress trees, this little green buds would not tell me that it's time to start. The buds swelling a little bit, like what I talked about the other day, would tell me that it's time to start. This would be telling me that the window to repot is starting to close. In other words, if you have plans of that, do it. Now the problem with that is I don't really believe winter's over yet. I still think we're in the in-betweens. But there's no doubt this little guy here has got buds all over it. The middle one, the larger of the three, it's got that I'm almost ready to go look. I don't see any green breaking out, but the green's already broken out on that one. And like I said, that's usually an indication that you're still in the window to repot, but that window is starting to close. Like, yeah, just no better way to put that than what I just said, I guess. The third one, I hadn't really planned on focusing on this, but I just saw those buds while we were shooting. It's funny how that sometimes works. I'd been out here for a few minutes looking and adjusting things, and I hadn't noticed. Yeah, the third one being this one. I don't see any buds on it, but that guy there, it's definitely in go mode. If the weather contains like this, and by stays like this, I mean temp wise, it will continue, and this guy does. It looks very goosebumpy. You know, all of those are just raising right on up. All right, my pine table is still looking yellow. They still believe it's winter. My literati is looking really nice. My ponderosas, aside from the ones that we've lost, which are now out of the picture, those are looking really nice. I've still got two pines that I'm very, very, very concerned about, and that being this one and that being that one. I thought about taking them in out of the rain, but to take them in out of the rain is to also take them out of the breeze, and I don't think our wind is going to hurt them. I think our wind would actually help them to move water. So maybe taking them out of the direct rain, but leaving them out here where they get the breeze is the best way to help them dry out. The way to save this tree, if it's still possible, and it's something that I've been working on, but it's not easy, is to let this guy go completely dry. Tomorrow, this will need water. This will need water. This will need water. This will need water. This is not going to need water for over a week the way it looks now. It's not taking up water. And no matter what, I have to let it get completely dry because it gets sicker every time it gets watered without that happening. And if it's not too late, that's still what we have to do. Thus, I have it tilted so that it will dissipate. I thought seriously about bringing the tree in so that it could dry out from all the water that's blowing in. But at the same time, this one, and this one needed watering. So I'm like, okay, it's not getting really wet here from the amount of rain we're getting. It's not making its way that far in. So by bringing it in out of the rain, that it's not getting rained on that much, I'm also taking it out of the breeze, which would be the thing that would help it get rid of that excess moisture. So I was kind of bring it in, take it out, bring it in, take it out. And we're going to go right here until I see that it's raining on the deck. And when it starts raining on the deck, I'll probably pull an audible in and bring it in. The rest of the guys are doing okay. They're looks like they're starting to move water a little bit faster than they had been before. So also, this is because we're looking at little trees that are starting to bud out. What do we see on here? I do see a few more buds on this guy. Some of those, not all of those, are this year. Some of those were right after we did a prune, and then they've just been hanging out all winter. I don't know that they're all alive. You know, we'll probably see when it really goes and busts out for spring. We'll probably see a new round of buds on it for then. But with all of this going on, we do have a springtime checklist, even if we're not quite there yet. For instance, we're not too far away from potting season. Some guys are already enjoying potting season. Like I just said before, this was the part I thought about talking about. I could have tied that into what I just noticed. Potting season for that guy would be right now because of the way those buds look. Bit risky because like I said, I'm not at all sure we're out of winter yet. But the indication is from the way those buds look and that little bit of green on that, and the way those buds are swelling on there, that it would be repotting season for those bald cypress. We are not too far off from our other trees too, if we're not already in the ballpark for that. So be thinking about who's going to get repotted, what they're going to get repotted in. Do you have enough soil standing by for that? I'm probably going to order some more akadama here. Like I said, I'm really happy that I've been thinking about ordering another pair of Japanese scissors because I heard they were getting harder to get, so I wanted to make sure that I take care of my tools. So if I have two pair, I'll probably be able to keep those from now on, for me now on anyway, and that'll be fine. So I was glad to do that. But yeah, I'll probably stock up on some more soil, and I'll be thinking about who is going to get repotted. Also, we had our issues where some of our trees just absolutely got wore out, and you know, in the end, we lost a lot of trees towards the end of the year here, and almost all of that centered around everything that we lost after a single event. And I wasn't the only one who lost trees in heat events. But main thing is some of that could have been prevented had I been a little bit less reckless. But these were the trees that we bought to learn on, and I think that's also part of the lesson. I had taken seedlings that were starter trees that were here for learning, and by the time you feel like you've brought them up a level, then you do have stuff invested in them, and it would be a shame to throw that away with recklessness. And some of them that we lost overheat, we did lose overheat. But why did they die and the ones next to them managed to hang in there? Also, looking back at it that way, some of them that we lost had been messed with the least. The ones that came in, one or two of them had came in as plugs and went straight into their little training pots. And we had kind of like just checked all the boxes the way they were supposed to. One or two of those I had gotten a little reckless with. Maybe I'd put it from a plug to a training pot, and then went from a training pot to a bonsai pot that I liked. And maybe that all happened in a year. And that's, nobody would be really shocked if you lost a tree that way. And yet I thought I would get away with it, and they looked fine until we got 120-degree heat. So that's kind of my little closing thoughts on that. We've got other rounds of pine trees that we're about to get started on. And another thing. This was something that I was kind of excited about. I just read the other day. I was talking about how I like telling the story about how the dawn redwood was thought to be an extinct tree for years and years and years. The only thing we knew about it was from fossil records and cold until right around the time after World War II, right around the time of the Korean War, if that makes sense to most people. They found a spot in China where a grove of these guys, or a grove of those dawn redwoods, had survived the last ice age, and they were the only place on the planet they had survived, and the locals had been harvesting them and using them for lumber for years. And there is such thing as the Society of Redwood, the Redwood Society, I believe is what it was called. Or maybe it was the Conifers, I don't remember. But there was a society of gents who could fly up there on their own nickel and start doing research and taking grafts and taking seedlings and now we have dawn redwoods all over the world because of that. And now we have dawn redwoods all over the world because of that one little grove found. Well, I just read the other day that they found a species. They called it pine. I don't know whether or not that's accurate but actually what they called it in the article, and this was an internet article, so they might have been playing fast and loose with the names, but they called it a dinosaur pine. They said they found it in Australia, in the mountains. They said picture something that you would have seen in animation things that were trying to be accurate about dinosaurs. You might see these really, really tall sticks that almost look like pencils in proportion. And they would almost look like palm trees in that they would have no foliage coming up the side of them, just on the top. Except unlike palms, they look more like ferns. And their trunks, they called the texture of the trunks, they said it looked like cocoa puffs in color and in texture. Looked like cocoa. Not that they were little round pellets, but they're just saying it was brown and kind of rough without being very variegated like other bark, right? But then they had their foliage all at top and it was fern-like. And that they discovered these in the 90s, and they kept it in the late 90s, and they had kept it quiet all this time until they were able to do their research, verify their research, make sure that the trees, that the grove that they had were safe, and then began propagating them. And they started off with this grove of 90 trees, and it was in the 90s, and it was 90 trees, and They said that they had thought that those had been gone for millions of years, but they had somehow managed to survive the ice ages and the asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs and all that other stuff. I thought that was fascinating. Just a little FYI thing on this blustery, wintry day. I thought, though, kind of going to be an old movie kind of day. Today's an old movie, I think, for me, will be one of my old favorites. I've seen it before, but not in about 15 years. Rumblefish. A lot of actors in that. Filmed in black and white in 1983. Dennis Hopper is in it, along with just a ton of people. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm going to do today. I'm going to sit back and watch Rumblefish with Frida. Like and subscribe if you guys have not already. Tonight, it would be a good time for us to bring in something and do a bonsai video. And we probably will. We do that quite often. And I appreciate you. Frida appreciates you. And thank you so much for watching.